From the tops of the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, especially if you are listening on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR, Newswire, and much more. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We look to wrap up each month in a nice, relaxing way, kicking back, have a drink in hand, dim the lights as we have the SOR Roundtable tonight. Yes, I bring in some friends. We discuss the month that was in the weird and strange and the questions that simply have no answers. We have a brilliant panel for you tonight. Richie G, Rich Giordano from GUFON is here. Science Bob McGwier from Skyhub. UFO historian William Pullin. Don't forget, he does have his khaki slacks on once again. And the shirtless wonder, researcher Alex Mistretta, who is one of the premier researchers in my mind of the strange and weird, based out of California. And we're going to get things going, gentlemen, right off the bat here, because, you know, one of the topics that really had me scratching my head was earlier this month, MUFON announced that they were going to build this advisory council of 10 people to kind of help direct MUFON over the next few years. And this is a 2-year term, and it had some very, very credible, smart people put on this panel. This panel was led by Paul Hynek, as per Jan Harzan, who is the head of MUFON. And Paul put together this advisory council. And there's a couple members on that team that I don't know about. But one of the things that I really noticed in Science Bob, I want to start with you on this one, was the two facts. Number one, there was not a single journalist on that advisory council. And in my opinion, I think one of MUFON's detriments is the fact that they don't have a media person. And they don't do very well in the media. And they're slow to react on things. And number two, which is more in your field, that panel did not have a single scientist on board. What's your thoughts of this advisory panel, and what's the purpose of it, Bob?
I don't know exactly what the purpose is. I haven't seen any kind of official statement from Paul about what it is, but I've interacted with Chris Mellon, and he is a very, very serious person. Is always kind of very fastidious in his writings and statements, and I can't imagine he's going to sit there and just have a tongue-wagging session. So they put experiencers on there with Calvin Parker and Kevin Day. And Kevin Day, of course, was also the radar operator on the Princeton for the Nimitz encounter. And so we haven't seen clear writing about the overall purpose of the group. Hynek is, of course, pretty serious about his wanting to have things done in for ufology, and he has been his role has been increasing in prominence as time goes on with his affiliation with Unidentified and the Project Blue Book story, and now with MUFON, and he's been to several conventions, giving talks. I think he's raising his profile and taking on more, and he is prominent in Hollywood. So I think he probably views himself as a media person since his career is in Hollywood.
I understand that, but didn't it catch you off guard that with all the scientists that are involved in ufology right now, that not a single one was really brought on board?
I would suggest to them that they involve a scientist. Hynek's approachable, so that suggestion can be made, and I think they would benefit from having one. And there are quite a few scientists that are MUFON members.
All right. Well, we'll see how it goes. William Pullin, I know you have always been, supportive yet critical of MUFON down in San Antonio, where you are. I'm curious what your thoughts on this are.
I'm troubled. There's two aspects of the higher organization of MUFON that have yet to be addressed. One is the media aspect. They don't have a media person. You're exactly right, Dave. We've discussed this off the air many times, that they react very slowly to stories. They don't have their act together when it comes to interacting with the media and getting the message out to the public. They didn't address that with this panel. Not a single journalist. So that's troubling. And the second aspect is their own mission statement, in a very general way, indicates that they want to use the scientific method to investigate the UFO problem. Well, then that would logically mean that you would at least have one credentialed scientist on your advisory board. That hasn't happened, so that's another issue. Now, on the positive side, MUFON certainly has issues at the higher levels, and any kind of effort to better themselves, even if it's internally, is a good thing. So perhaps this advisory board will get that ball rolling in a positive way. So that's a good thing. But the fact that some of the issues weren't addressed as it pertains to the personnel on the panel is a little troubling. But we'll see what transpires here. I mean, I think the bigger issue beyond the science is the media aspect of it, because as far as the investigative units, they're the elephant in the room, and yet they dropped the ball, and TTSA has kind of run with it, and they have no one to blame but themselves with that situation. So we'll see what the future holds with this. It's very interesting that you do have some credentialed, serious people on that board. So we'll see if that has a positive influence on the organization.
You know, I'm going to give MUFON a little bit of credit here before I bring Richie and Alex in here, and when it comes to the media side of things, and I'll tell you why. Okay. Yes, and I'm coming from a journalism standpoint. Yes, they didn't have a so-called quote-unquote journalist on this panel, but at least they didn't have a self-titled fake journalist on the panel. Okay?
Yeah.
And I give credit for that, because I don't know if I would be more steamed personally of them bringing in somebody in this field, and there's many of them who have self-titled themselves, comparatively to not having one at all. So I do give them credit for that for sure. Richie, what's your thoughts?
Well, without repeating what everybody else said, the science side of it and the journalism side of it, I look at it from a Skywatcher side of it. And I know this is the advisory council, but I would like to have seen somebody who has boots on the ground behind the camera with thousands of hours of skywatching experience. Somebody like me, maybe like me, but with a lot of experience in the field. And we don't see that. That would be nice. I would like to see somebody advise on real footage instead of somebody who went to space a few times or flew a jet and saw something once. I want an experiencer. Do we go to Hynek's son or whoever that guy is? What is it, his nephew?
His son, Paul.
Son. Okay, Paul, yeah. I mean, that's great. I could understand him, growing up in his dad's environment. But still, what's his experience skywatching? Does he have, his own experiences? Not a lot of these people do. One experience doesn't cut it for me. I need somebody with years of experience. That's what we run into out in the field, is people who are having multiple experiences most of the time.
Alex, you're former MUFON. I know you have some, at times, a bone to pick with some people, but on a balanced level here, what do you think of this advisory council?
Well, first off the bat, it's the first I've heard of it. I didn't even know about it. So all I know is what you guys just said. My concern is that I don't know if it could really address this, the research aspect of ufology with MUFON is kind of they've lagged behind in that aspect for years now. And I don't want this to become more of a PR. Let's have our links of Hollywood, make some shows, make some movies, become a little more popular. That's my concern with it, because that seems to have been there, or there hasn't been out the last few years. I know they had reached out to the TTSA and all the Skinwalker guys and trying to make some shows together and all that. And apparently that didn't work out all that well. So my concern is I always wanted research to be a multidisciplinary approach, and that requires a lot of diversity within a group, and they don't seem to address that. Now, on the other hand, it seems to be, a move in a positive direction. It's better than where they've been. But until they change leadership at the top, if you ask me, I think they're still going to be behind the ball a little bit.
Well, and I think that's a fair comment. And I want to pose this as a secondary question as well when it comes to this. Alex, let's start with you on this one.
Yeah.
Does it concern you at all that Chris Mellon is involved with this? Now, Chris Mellon, he is a former assistant Department of Defense guy. I don't know what the term is in the U.S. That's why I'm Canadian. In Canada, he'd be assistant minister. Or deputy minister. That's what it would call him. But, okay, here's a guy who is very, very deep in with the government, very great contacts. He's a smart man, comes from an extremely wealthy family and people who have succeeded in life. He is someone who is very much pro-UFO and getting the message out, which I think is positive. And he's tied to the Stars Academy deeply. Is there any cause for concern in your mind, and the rest of the panel's mind, and we'll start with you, Alex, on this, on his involvement on this advisory panel, considering his ties to TTSA and the United States government, when MUFON is really supposed to be independent of any sort of camaraderie like that?
Slightly, but I think, his ties to the United States government, and I know people worry about infiltration and, and all that stuff, but I think that gets overplayed, to be honest. I think ultimately, if you want an insider, you got to have somebody with credentials, and that's going to have to come from someone in a position within the government that at least, knows a few things here and there, right? Now, when it comes to Academy of the Stars, that concerns me a little bit more, because I was on board with them in the beginning, and then to me it seemed, it became very a lot of self-booyah with those guys. Not a whole lot of research ultimately really came about, considering they had all this media, all this money, all these, insiders within the government. Not a whole lot came out of that, really, if you think about it, aside from a handful of TV shows. So that concerns me a lot more than the government aspect of it.
All right. Richie, your thoughts. Chris Mellon, good, bad for MUFON?
We would have to be... just my opinion, okay? I would think that it would be impossible for him not to share information. Oh, you know what MUFON's doing? You got to check this out. It's brilliant. Oh, we should do that at TTSA. Good idea. You don't think that's going to happen? Hey, you know what TTSA's doing? What? This. You should try it out. I don't know if that would happen. But if there was a big secret or something that MUFON found out and they're not telling to the Stars Academy, there's no way anybody could keep that secret. I don't know if he would. Does he have to? Can he talk and give information back and forth? Or does he have to keep everything separated? I don't know how he could do that. And quite frankly, that's a little suspicious to me.
Bob, what's your thoughts on what Rich said?
So I would believe that Chris probably has some kind of informal, maybe even formal non-disclosure agreement to the Stars Academy. I know that he maintains his security clearance and has non-disclosure agreements with the U.S. government, and that would have been his life, because he was Deputy Assistant Secretary for Defense for Intelligence in the Obama administration, and before that he was Senator Mark Warner's staffer on the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. So he's completely inculcated in the defense and intelligence establishment for the United States government, and maintains his credentials and continues to have NDAs that constrain him. And I am presupposing, without having direct knowledge, that he has an NDA with TTSA. So I'm sure there are constraints on what he can do and say about the government and TTSA on the MUFON advisory panel and vice versa.
So
I'm a little uncomfortable.
So, okay. Well, so there's no other option? Like, why him? What's so great about this guy? That's why it's a little bit skeptical. Nobody else.
William.
I think it's just quite prominent. I think that's mostly what it is.
Yeah, I know.
I kind of weigh on the side of what Alex mentioned, that you want a credentialed person to bring their perspective to the UFO topic. Now, I'm understand that. I'm comfortable with that. I'm more interested in the fact that he was aligned with TTSA. That's interesting, because in the history of the UFO topic, or the problem, or however you want to label it, investigative groups, civilian groups, never interact with each other. Members, the higher ups at NICAP never interacted with APRO, and vice versa. MUFON and APRO never interacted. It just never happens.
Oh.
And Mellon is connected intimately with TTSA, and now he's on a panel with MUFON. That's interesting to say the least. So I'm a little troubled by that, but you do want credentialed people in some position, and yes, he'll be constrained as far as what he can talk about, but you do want a diverse perspective. And at some point, you do need some people in the know that, of course, may not be able to spout about their knowledge directly because they're constrained, but at the same time, they bring a perspective that some of us don't have as civilians. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. So
I think my big concern with it, gentlemen, is the fact that my wish for MUFON, and there's some very, very good people involved with MUFON, both on the board as well as, investigators, state investigators, local investigators, whatever it may be. And even up here in Canada, MUFON Canada members are good people as well. And I know a number of them in Ontario. And I can say this, okay? My disappointment with it is throughout everything that has gone on in the last 2 years, we've never seen a MUFON member, namely Jan Harzan or anybody, on television. We've never seen them on Fox. We've never seen them on CNN. There's never been any quotes from major newspapers trying to find out what MUFON's opinion is of these videos. They've basically gone silent. And when you're the big dog on the continent when it comes to UFOs like MUFON is, you have to be ready to respond. People need your answers. If you're hurting for membership, what better way to get your way out there than to have your press guy or woman say, hey, we're going on CNN tonight, or we're going on Fox News, or we're going on with Haggerty or whomever. It's not just Spaced Out Radio or Coast to Coast AM or whatever. It's not about that. It's about getting your name and your organization out there, and they've failed on that. And it just seems like, it was a year and a half, almost 2 years ago now. Yeah, it'd be 2 years ago now when Jan Harzan and Lou Elizondo were interviewed together by George Knapp. And it was like old hat that, MUFON and TTSA are working together. Why are you working with them? You're supposed to be the voice of the public. Maybe I have it all wrong, gentlemen. Somebody please correct me if I do. But if they're supposed to be the voice in the eyes of the public, why are they teaming up with people who are hiding and trying to control a narrative? This is what doesn't make sense to me, especially with Chris Mellon now being a part of this advisory board. Am I wrong, Richie?
No, you're not. You're spot on.
Right.
MUFON is the elephant in the room. Therefore, they're in the lead. They have the largest membership. They take the air out of the room. They're the major. There's an argument to be made that they're really the only large civilian UFO investigative group in operation. And that's no disrespect to Peter Davenport's group, but that's more of a data collection agency. MUFON does boots on the ground investigations, and I'm with Rich that there should be a boots on the ground investigator on that panel. But that's another issue. But the idea that MUFON's the elephant in the room, they should take the lead. They should be in the lead, grab the bull by the horns, and they didn't. They avoided the bull. They just disappeared, and they allowed TTSA to control all the narrative, to take all the air out of their sails. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist or a media expert to realize that's happening. and they haven't addressed it at all. It seems like they're very comfortable being pushed to the side. Well, no wonder they're struggling for membership. No wonder they're not at the forefront. They dropped the ball. No two ways about it.
What did they drop the ball on? What did you expect them to do?
I expected what happened.
Go ahead.
Exactly what happened. I expected that.
Okay, what I expected them to do, Rich, is I expected press releases. I expected when the videos came out to have members of MUFON from their group and their panel to be on radio shows in front of the cameras, getting, you only get so many opportunities to shine. Okay, it's like this has been like a football game. Okay, much like the Super Bowl a couple years ago when Atlanta was leading New England 27-3 at the half and ends up losing the game. Right?
But this is not their story. This is TTSA's story. So you wanted them to come out and talk about the videos? Is that it? Is that what you're saying? Like throw your face out there?
It's not just about the videos. It's about as the media is jumping on board with the UFO story, all right? They had the prime opportunity to say, hey, we have tens of thousands of witnesses. We have tens of thousands of facts and video logs and eyewitness testimony that we would love to open up for you. It's right there. All you got to do is go on our website. And they didn't do it. Yeah. They did not do it. So you wanted them
to glom on to the Stars Academy, unless they were asked not to.
Oh, that's actually a good point.
Because that seems, it is weird that they didn't do anything to gain attraction, and say, look, we've been doing this for 50 years. It would have been great. But I don't know if that's a glomming type of thing or if it's just stepping aside and seeing what the evidence is.
Well, I mean, we're going to continue this talk after the break as well because we're under a minute here to go. And I think one of the big things that I'm trying to say is, look, you don't get many opportunities in the field of ufology to get in front of the camera, to get in front of the media, to get in front of the microphone, be interviewed.
Yep.
All right? Now, they have a leader who all he wants to do is talk about peace, love, and light. All right. They needed a leader and still need a leader who is going to be able to grab the bull by the horns and say, look, this is our playground. It's great that there are other groups, but this is our playground. If you want information, public, Mr. and Mrs. Joe Public, if you want information, Mr. and Mrs. Joe and Jane Reporter and media, come to us. We got it. We'll give you everything that you want. In fact, you can have it right now by just going on our website. They didn't do it. They did not do it. We'll get other opinions with Alex Mistretta, Bob McGwier, William Pullin, and little Richie G from GUFON as the SOR Roundtable continues right after this on Spaced Out Radio.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you'd know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know little brother is watching.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
Need that weekend supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We're taking Sunday nights out of this world on Spaced Out Radio. This is Michael W. Hall, also known as the Paranormal Lawyer. Together, we're going to go on an exciting journey into the unknown. I'm going to bring you some of the best interviews in the paranormal and supernatural to start your new week off on a freaky note. So tune in to Spaced Out Sundays with me, Michael W. Hall, only on spacedoutradio.com.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate you taking the time. If you've missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and much more. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show, and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. The SOR Roundtable happens as we finish off each month, hanging out talking about the month that was. And boy, do we have a great panel for you tonight. From Skyhub, Science Bob McGwier, Alex Mistretta, who, in my opinion, is one of the top researchers of everything paranormal and supernatural. He's got no shirt on. I don't even think he owns a T-shirt. You know, he's in California. He's got one of them beach bodies. But he's here with us for the first time. We have William Pullin, our resident UFO historian, and a man who has more than 200 pairs of khaki slacks, and one of the funniest men on YouTube, GUFON Radio's Rich Giordano. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on in tonight.
Great to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for having us on.
So right before the break, we were talking about the involvement of Chris Mellon and everything to do with MUFON. And I don't want to spend too much more time on this, but I believe I was going to go to you, Richie, in regards to this. You know, what can MUFON do different when it comes to Chris Mellon, when it comes to the ties? What should they have done, in your opinion?
Well, you kind of did go to me, and I was just wondering because there's no Skywatcher. I mean, I would like to have seen somebody, like I was said earlier, boots on the ground. I don't know what they could have done differently. What I like, though, and we've been asking for them, right? If we could start ufology all over again, or, you know, make MUFON be a better place to report to, how would we go about that, and who would we go about that? And I don't know if this is the best, but it's at least starting over. You know, at least they're trying. I mean, there's Christopher Mellon, I think, so a good choice, but, you know, with his ties to TTSA, one wonders. You got someone with a master's degree, Sandy Clevin, if I'm saying that wrong, Arturo Interion, right? Vice President, current scripted programming. Here it is, the article, or wherever I got this. Yeah, it's amazing. They got a lot of great people. It's an advisory board. They're just advising, right? Are they professionals or experts? Well, they're professional. Are they experts? No, none of us are. But I tell you what, get somebody who knows experiencers and knows what to look for. These people had one experience. Some of them never held a camera. So I don't know. For the people, I would like to see it go for the people.
Bob, is there a statement in your mind? I mean, even though you're relatively new to ufology, you've kind of been shoved into this role because of your education, because of your background in science and other sorts that go along the lines, and now with Skyhub. When you look at a group like MUFON and you see the ties that they have, the hands that they're shaking, you know, is it cause for enlightenment or cause for concern?
So the causes for concern I have is they have, just me as a scientist, they have lots and lots and lots of data that could be used to do science on. They seem to restrict access to it or minimize access to it, and they've sold access to it. I've heard reporting of, and that seems problematic if what we're trying to do is have an open conversation and allow science to be done, which needs to be done in the open to be efficient and get as many ideas as possible. So I'd like to see them try to undertake a serious scientific endeavor or allow it to be done with their database. Now, they're going to have to go through some stuff, anonymizing the data records and so forth and so on, but that kind of thing could be done, and for that they need a science advisor. They had Chris Cogswell, who is a PhD, a mechanical engineer and tenured at a good university, and there were internal problems that caused Cogswell to leave. They didn't try to replace him. So I think that there's a hole there that needs filling. And I think they would be served well by involving new science in people and getting them on there to advise the group from the advisory council.
Alex, your thoughts?
I think they just need to go back to the basic and go back to research, where I was saying earlier about a multidisciplinary group where you have a PhD engineer on the board. You have a psychologist. You identified every ufological modality that's out there, and you have somebody that kind of fits, that hole. And then you can start thinking about going out and being proactive, man. Go out there. Stop responding to all that disclosure, which is like, I know it's a hot word, and everybody wants disclosure to come to them, and MUFON already being fairly reactive. They're just kind of sitting back, and whatever's news, the hot topic, whatever comes out, they kind of jump on the bandwagon. If I was them, I would start from the beginning and just go out there and start doing their own thing. But like I said, start, putting together a real team, and start supporting some of the smaller chapters as well who have excellent investigators, financially, start having more, communicating with all those different groups, because it's such a widespread phenomena, right, across the United States and across the world. They need to start thinking globally, as well. But they got to start being a lot more proactive. That's all I want, man. I just like more research.
I agree. We're going to move on to topics here, gentlemen. As earlier this month, I had John Edmonds on about the Stardust Ranch. And this is a gentleman who claims to have slain aliens with a sword. There's a lot of, and he's got 19 kills to his credit. 19 kills to his credit. And, I want to see one of these bodies, yet there is allegedly no photos. The bodies have all been turned over to government agencies and or universities, according to John. And there's not much outside of his word. This is a story that I want to believe. Rich, you have driven out to Stardust Ranch, and you found some kind of interesting characteristics about that place.
Yeah, I drove out there about a week and a half ago, and I noticed that the house, the ranch, is very close proximity, if not, if you look up on the satellite, touching other ranchers' places. I thought it was a wide open area where there was like natural desert behind him. The gate goes right up to the road, just 15 feet away, like the legal limit to how close you can get. And it's very centrally located right over the airline. Like if you were going from Hawaii to Texas or Florida, I mean, he's right in a flight path where many lights 30,000 feet up are going to look awfully peculiar. So also noticed across the street towards the southwest, there were mountains that are the Barry Water gunnery range, where they drop a lot of flares, a lot of flyovers, lots of cool stuff, right? So he's around a hub of a lot of interesting and wild and wacky things that if you didn't know what to look for, you would think you were living in a paranormal world. Now, his story's remarkable. You got to cut the heads off, or else, what do you do with the body? So as long as you chop that head off, you're good. They disappear. That I don't know. I never had an alien experience, but if we take what he's saying that's true, when I was out there, I could see a lot of things that could make somebody think they were being invaded. Weird light situations. A lot of semis drive down that road. Their lights are bright. A lot of flashing lights. A lot of people, a lot of tractors, a lot of trailers, people moving mobile homes and horse carriages. It's very, very busy. It's like a highway off the highway. It's unbelievable. So I don't know. It's a it's a ranch in middle of the ranch in the middle of nowhere.
Well, one of the things
Did you talk to his neighbors? Did you talk to his neighbors?
No, I didn't yet. No, I may go back and do that.
Well, that was one of the interesting points that I was going to bring up is John said on the show that his neighbors are having almost like the same type of experiences, but none of them have ever come out to corroborate his stories or come out even with their own, stories of information. And that's what kind of makes me curious about all of this, because I know if my neighbor was like that, I would do one of two things. I would either A, shut the heck up, because I don't want the attention around my house, or B, I would join him in saying, yes, I will tell you that this is happening at my house too. And yet nobody has ever come out saying, I'm John's neighbor. I got the Starflight Ranch, 2 acres down, and this is what's happening to me. My horses have been decapitated. I've had aliens. We never hear that. Never hear that at all. Alex, what's your thoughts?
Look, with all due respect to the Caucasian West Side alien killer, if you're going to make those extraordinary claims, you got to have some kind of proof. Otherwise, it's just another story, and from a data standpoint, it's worthless. I have no interest in it until there's even a modicum of proof, a picture or something. You can make all the claims you want, but it's useless. It's just yet another story. We have thousands of those, Our whole entire field is filled with people making wild claims. It doesn't do us any good until there's some kind of hard evidence. So I think it's crap, if I'm going to be really honest.
Well, there you go. There we got
also,
to the... Go ahead, Rich.
I was just going to say, when I got there, I was looking for these cattle and the horses that he's, supposedly rehabbing. I mean, there was one horse in the whole place. So I didn't see any activity of anything other than it looked like the ranch was really just barely upkeep, barely kept up. I said that backwards. Yeah, so I guess talking about it, it's having an effect on me. Must be real.
William Pullin. Stardust Ranch.
In the UFO field, we have a lot of stories. We spent 80 years collecting testimony that basically stories. We have very little actual physical evidence to corroborate that. Now, having multiple witnesses helps on some level, but at some point we need tangible evidence we can all examine and come to a consensus about. If we want to move this field forward in a legitimate, productive way, stories alone are not good enough. We need another chain to confirm the testimony, really get us going forward in a positive direction. We have nothing but stories. And another important part is people do misidentify things. There are fraudsters out there. There are hoaxers out there. And if we just get to the point where we're believing testimony at face value blindly without any kind of investigation, that's a horrible situation. Because potentially we might be believing people that are hoaxing their testimony. We might be believing fraudsters and liars. And we can't get to that point because that's to the detriment of people witnessing anomalous activity that actually are experiencing bizarre things that deserve an explanation. So stories aren't good enough. It's just not good enough. But, the UFO community doesn't want to hear that. They want to hear bizarre testimony of events, and they blindly accept it. Well, I mean, as an attorney or a law enforcement official, would you blindly accept the testimony of somebody? No. You can investigate their claims. You can investigate their background. But somehow in the UFO field, we're expected to blindly accept stories without any kind of investigation. It's very amateurish.
The reason I think that happens with this story, because Skinwalker Ranch, people want to compare it to it. It's nice to think that there's another place other than Skinwalker. Mm-hmm. I think that's why.
Well, that also brings up another good point with Skinwalker Ranch. They took a lot of harassment over the last couple of weeks because they put a couple of alpacas in the field. And people are like, really? You're sacrificing alpacas to the aliens and to the predatory monsters that could be running around? And I got to say that I kind of disagree with that, And here's the reason why. I know up here, living in an area where there's a lot of animals that can kill you, people and farmers all over the place put llamas, alpacas, donkeys in their fields with their horses and cattle because they're just nuts enough to take on a wolf pack. They're nuts enough to take on a cougar or a black bear or a grizzly bear or coyotes. I don't know why, but they just are. Bob, you know a lot about what's happening on Skinwalker. You've been following that a lot recently. Is the harassment of what's happening at Skinwalker that we're seeing on TV, is it valid?
They've had some interesting things happen, and they have gotten some interesting detections and interesting data. I was really troubled by the alpacas. They didn't instrument their containment area sufficiently, and they had these far-off surveillance cameras, these really, really good pan-tilt zoom surveillance cameras, and they caught something attacking the alpaca, and it was lacerated on its rear end. So something was really biting on it. They got, using the same pan-tilt zoom surveillance cameras, they looked at a cow that had died. It was not the typical mutilation, but it was dead, and they had an autopsy done by a veterinarian right on the spot, and it gave them a determination. And so they said, well, look, it had to have died on camera. So they went and looked at the videos and saw over the cow a clear object in the sky that was anomalous during the time the cow was dying. So, and they've shot rockets into the air at a place where they had taken other instruments and triangulated that there was a source of high levels of microwave radiation coming from this source. They shot rockets through it. First, they put a weather balloon up through it, and the weather balloon disappeared. I don't know the details of what they mean by disappeared, but they look to be in great shock. Then they shot rockets up, and when they shot rockets up through this place, they had anomalous things appear in the sky. The typical person looking at both the anomalous thing over the cow and the anomalous thing where they shot the rockets, they would call it a UFO because it was a silver disc-shaped craft. So they've had interesting things. And again, I'm going to tell you, all those interesting things that they've shown us, none of it gives to me data that I would need to make some kind of scientific assessment of it. Now, Eric Bard's the scientist. He is the Fugal scientist. I believe that they're collecting this data. Travis Taylor is a scientist. I believe they're collecting data. I'd like to see the data analyzed for what can be found. But the kind of scientific experiment that needs to be done at Skinwalker Ranch is to put an array of instruments, and it's going to have to be compared to other places that are not Skinwalker Ranch to show that there's a demonstrable difference in things that are happening at Skinwalker Ranch, and the data is going to have to be gathered for a long time to show really, really good results.
Yes.
Good science can be done there. Right now what they're doing is showing enough interesting stuff that a scientist might propose to them to do an experiment that's literally going to take years.
William, what's your thoughts on what Bob said?
Agreed.
Power.
With all capital letters.
That's why we bring William in here.
Real science is not sexy. Real science is troublesome.
No,
real science is time-consuming. It's going to take a long time. The UFO problem has never been looked at scientifically. I mean, really hard science. There's been soft attempts at it, but I mean, a real scientific examination of that ranch will take a data collection effort in a scientific way over a long period of time. They get a long cross-section of data. They're comparing that to an area that's not anomalous. to compare and contrast and draw some conclusions from that. That's not happening. So, but what's happening is things are being filmed and observed that might motivate a scientist to say, you know, something is interesting happening here. Let's apply some science to this area and see what's actually transpiring or not transpiring in the case of these. So, but yeah, I agree with Bobby. It's but again, you know, that kind of science does not it doesn't convert into a successful TV show. You know, if you had a show about real science, it would fail. Nobody would watch it. So you have to add to the story and you have to script write it a little bit. You have to make it more Hollywoodish a little bit to make it successful. And it's kind of like the same argument with Project Blue Book. You know, Blue Book, they have to write stories and make it fictionalized. If they actually did episodes that were completely historically accurate as to what actually happened, the series would have failed. It would have been painfully boring for the average person. So, I go back to UFO witnesses. People are witnessing anomalous activity. They deserve a quality, valid, objective investigation of this stuff. Not everybody. Not everybody wants an answer. Not everybody wants an investigation, but some do. A lot of witnesses want answers. They want to know what they experienced, and they deserve a quality scientific investigation that never happened. And that's a terrible situation.
We've got about 2 minutes here, Alex. I want to get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, well, first of all, we're mostly commenting on the TV show. That seems to be the only investigation that's going on is within the confines of the television show, as everybody else has just pointed out. I don't see why we can't have both. Why can't we do a TV show, which obviously maybe you need to generate money and interest and all that, and still have a scientific study, you know, on top of that. If there's this many people involved, this amount of money, all these millionaires and all that, you can really do it. You can have it both ways. And I don't know why it's become either or. They seem to have picked specifically to do a television show and ignore all other possibilities. And I don't know why that is. And for the record, though, I spent 4 days around the Skinwalker Ranch. We didn't get in the actual property because I thought we were going to, and at the last second, they denied us. But so myself and Steve Murillo, it was only two of us for 4 days, and there's a lot going on. We spent a lot of time on the reservation talking to people who have lived in the area for a very long time, and they've been reporting this type of phenomena for generations, and not just within the property of the ranch, for miles all around. So there's something to that area of interest, but again, it's a wide area, and it would take a lot of time, as the other gentleman just pointed out, a lot of money, and some bona fide, equipment, bona fide scientists, and bona fide investigators, and you have to spend a lot of time down there. And you can't do that within, if you're just going to focus on 1 hour once a week on a television show.
On that note, gentlemen, I'm going to get you all to hold on here, because when we come back with the panel on the SOR Roundtable, we're going to play a little game called Woo-Word Bound. On Twitter, at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. We got some snarky people up there. And Derek, who leads and writes the Woo-Word Bound question, is all about our good buddy in North Korea, Kim Jong-un. Is he a time traveler? We're going to find out from the panel next on Spaced Out Radio. Let's turn up the woo.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there. The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hey everyone, I'm John Edwards.
And I'm Stacey Edwards. Together we're taking over Saturday nights on Spaced Out Radio, where we're going to bring our own experiences of the paranormal and talk to the best people we can find to help bring you answers to your strange tales.
We're here to entertain your need for weekend woo! So tune us in at spacedoutradio.com starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, where we can all get a little spooky together.
Spaced Out Saturday nights right here at spacedoutradio.com.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to the second hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. We want to welcome back everyone listening across North America on our terrestrial affiliates and on the digital side on Revolution Radio and TalkStream Live. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Erday. Erday is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. As well, follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. It's the SOR Paranormal Roundtable. We finish off each month by bringing in a bunch of friends of this show, and we kind of debate and discuss the month that was here. And we are joined tonight by UFO historian William Pullin, researcher Alex Mistretta. By the way, just so you know, Alex never wears a T-shirt when doing radio interviews, along with Rich Giordano from GUFON and Sky Hub's Science Bob McGwier. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to turn up the woo here because, you know, it just wouldn't be us if we didn't. And every roundtable, we do a feature called Woo Word Bound. And this is set up by Derek on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. And there was an article that came out. Remember just a couple of weeks ago where we all thought that Kim Jong-un, the fabulous, lovely-haired leader of North Korea, just disappeared. We all thought he was dead, and we were all glued to the televisions and radios. We needed the update. We needed to find out if the great leader was actually gone to the heavens with his father and grandfather. But he seemed resurrected. And one report says this: North Korea's supreme leader, Kim Jong-un, rest assured, he didn't leave Pyongyang to visit his relatives in the past or to find out who wins the U.S. election in the future. Why would he do these things? According to North Korean tradition, Kim, his father and grandfather, possessed the ability to travel through time and space. Well, they did until North Korea's official statement issued the following. And let me get that here. So apparently, the big coverage is that he went on a trip using his powers that he has because he is one of the chosen ones to go check the universe out. Bob, one of science, I'm curious, where do you think Kim Jong-un went on his time travel adventure?
Wow. Well, he's definitely some kind of alien creature. So, I mean, this guy took an anti-aircraft gun and killed his uncle because he got mad at him. Okay, so let's see. Where would he go? To the planet Pluto because it's so cold. Because he is one cold-hearted blankety blank.
Oh, wow. I'm just not feeling the love for the Supreme Leader there, Bob. Not feeling the love. Now, one of the allegations here, Bob, and panel, one of the allegations here is that he actually went somewhere with his alleged pleasure squad of 2,000 sex slaves. However, Kim is denouncing the powers and that he had the 2,000 sex slaves. I don't agree with you, Bob. I don't think he went to Pluto. But I am proud, Bob, that you did list Pluto as a planet because I don't consider it a dwarf planet. Let's keep Pluto just as a regular planet. Alex.
Agreed.
Alex,
so
did you get it? Did you get any visits from the Supreme Leader on his time travel?
No, I wish I did, but maybe he went golfing with Trump.
Well, here's some other powers that Kim Jong-un is allegedly supposed to possess. He can control the weather. He learned how to drive at age 3. He started competing in sailing at age 9. And he has the ability to cure venereal diseases.
See, he's a hybrid alien.
He is such an alien. Where do you think this Pleiadian comes from, William Pullin?
Earth. He's an overweight murderer, is who he is. That's all he is. Allegedly, he can hit 18 holes in one single round of golf. And I'm sorry, but if Jack Nicklaus or Tiger Woods can't do that, sure as heck he can. So, but his people either believe that or they're being forced to believe that. I mean, communist countries are famous for their propaganda. Case in point, North Korea. I mean, this is a controlled state, a closed state, so he can disappear whenever he wants. Not time travel, but it can go to some other location within the country. We're not privy to it. We have a hard enough time finding the military installations of the country with our own spy satellites. They're that good at hiding and just closing things off. Even the Chinese have trouble, and they tolerate him. They're allies, but they tolerate him. The Chinese, and they have trouble gaining information about it. And here we are on the other side of the country, the other side of the world, I should say, trying to find out what this guy's doing. But yeah, it's bizarre, the stories surrounding this large Asian man who's very short actually too. So I don't know. He looks very athletic. I mean, he looks like a sailor. He looks like a guy who's competed in athletic endeavors, doesn't he? He looks like a Tiger Woods or a Roger Federer. He's a magnificent specimen. I'll leave it at that.
Well, I got to say this, little Richie G, I got to bring you in here because you can be the voice of reason for these anti-wooites here, okay? I think because he is a giant basketball fan, loves Dennis Rodman, him and Dennis Rodman have hung out together in North Korea. I think him and the Worm went on some time-traveling trip to go investigate aliens on another planet. That's what I think happened. Rich?
Are you asking? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You read my mind, which is really weird because I was thinking Dennis Rodman we always thought he was an alien, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's true. And with what's his name? Kim Jong-woo? What is his name?
Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-un. Yet with that wind tunnel tested hairdo, he's going around Uranus faster than anybody else you ever known. This guy goes all through the 9. Yes, and I consider Pluto a planet still in my lifetime. That guy can do it all. And if he can't, I don't understand why you guys can't see this. And yes, in my eyes, he does look athletic as Tiger Woods. And in my eyes, he could be Elvis. if he wanted to be. He could be anything he wants. How dare you take that away from him? And who are we? We don't know. None of us really know.
I agree. Are
you cutting me off? You're cutting me off.
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm trying to support you, man. I'm fanning you with a towel right now because you're red hot in reading this.
It's unbelievable. People don't understand. They think, this guy doesn't believe a thing. I believe this story.
Definite time traveler.
Yeah,
Definite.
absolutely.
Now, we got 3 guys against us here, though. In Science Bob, Alex Mistretta, and William Pullin.
Really?
It's just you and me, Rich. Just you and me
What about the guy
buying
who wrote
this.
the question? Is he on our side?
Derek? Yeah, he's definitely on our side that Kim Jong-un is a time traveler.
Now I guess we got a split decision.
Totally. We got a split decision tonight on Woo-Word Bound. That is completely true. Completely true. Speaking of time travel,
not a split.
It would be. It would be.
Would it be?
Right. It'd be a draw. No, it'd be a draw, to be honest.
Right. Yeah.
Be a draw. Yeah. All right. Speaking of time travel, there was word that we may have, William, earlier this month, seen a time slip and a change in dimensions down in Antarctica. Did you hear about that?
I heard the story. Yep.
What's your thoughts on that?
So did I.
Do you believe that there are other dimensions out there that we are able to maybe find in the near future scientifically?
Science is slowly getting more comfortable with the idea that there are multi-universes. There are other dimensions that we're not aware of because we exist in a 3-dimensional world. Is science going to be able to prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt? Most likely. We'll be able to detect them with technology at some point. I think given enough time, I think so. I'm comfortable saying that. Did some sort of time displacement, dimensional transference occur in Antarctica? No. Because I don't know, will we even know what to look for? If there was some sort of meeting of another dimension and there was some sort of blur, there was a door that opened up between dimensions, how would we know what to look for? We wouldn't. We wouldn't be able to recognize it. No, but I think at some point, at some point, as time goes on, if we're patient enough, things that seem anomalous and paranormal now are explainable by science in generations to come. I mean, the French thought, for a while, scientists didn't believe in the idea of rocks falling from space. Those are called meteorites. People thought comets were, angry deities who needed to sacrifice enough virgins. No, they're comets. So, but I'm not saying it didn't happen. All I'm saying is that we don't have the societal knowledge, the scientific knowledge to be able to determine if it did happen or not. So I would say it didn't, no.
Science Bob.
Yeah.
Did we see into a different dimension?
In Antarctica. So I don't know whether So here's what current physics says about what was observed in Antarctica. So they have these detectors buried in the ice, and they saw neutrinos in these detectors because that's the reason the detectors were there, were to find these neutrinos. But the neutrinos came from inside the Earth, toward and up and hit the detectors. And the current best hypothesis is it traveled in a parallel universe or in a dimension that we can't now see in order to account for the behavior of all the neutrinos. So I'm going to go with yes.
Oh, we're time traveling. We're moving to different dimensions. This is all very Doctor Who there, Alex.
Yes, it is.
What's your thoughts?
First of all, no, they did not discover other dimensions in Antarctica. It's what they call a speculative cosmological model. So it's just a theoretical idea. Is it possible? Absolutely, right? I mean, physics who knows where we're going to be at in 100 years from now, 200 years from now, if we're still around. So is it possible? Yeah, because when you get to a certain point of physics, other dimensions, space travel, even going beyond life, it all kind of ends up being the same thing, right? It's just a matter of accessing other realities. And I know there's a lot of talk about that in quantum physics, but it's still all speculative. And a lot of those are just still hypothesis, So no, I don't think we're there quite yet, but in the future, sure.
Richie G.
Oh, man, this is a tough one. Didn't they find out about this in 2016 and now they're just talking about it? I'm not sure.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so this is that. All right. It would be interesting to know, but why is it taking this long for the story to come out if it's been, around since 2016? Is it just that they've been able to have they been able, I'm asking, to duplicate this?
Oh, they duplicated it, but they didn't have an explanation at all for what they observed in 2016 and after until recently.
Okay. Oh, okay. So like a mirror world, it could be anything. Like it could be the opposite of everything we know here.
And like Alex says, this is a hypothesis. A few billion experiments from now, it might be sufficiently decided to become a new physics law. But right now, it's just their best guess.
That's amazing stuff, though.
It's awesome.
So how do they... Now what do they do with this data? Do they tell us what this means, though, other than it's a possible parallel universe or something? If they're creating this... If they they're not creating the parallel universe. Right. They're saying that to get the data they have observed, one explanation is it traveled in other dimensions or came from a parallel universe. I got
that's one possible explanation. It'll take lots of experiments, and things will get shot down. In science, if you find one counterexample, your theory is wrong.
Yep.
Yeah,
takes time. Yeah.
Brutal.
If I may add one thing real quick, though. Regardless, of what this turns out to be and what this means, it is definitely something we should be thinking about and always be progressive. I think always look towards the future. Sometimes I think a lot of science forgets that. They're so stuck in their what's real now and in dogma versus looking into exploring, these ideas that may seem crazy now, but I really think that this is the future. Really should start thinking in terms of science fiction in a way. Just always be progressive, always try to push the envelope. So it's cool, and from that standpoint.
I agree. And I think this is going to push things into a little bit more. I mean, look, we have people who are just disappearing for no reason on this planet. Disappearing. All right. There's no signs of depression. There's no signs of anxiety, no signs of stress, never been in trouble with the law. Sure, in some cases, foul play may have come by. This is what David Paulides has been talking about for a number of years, is situations like this where, wondering if people, as we've talked about numerous times on this show, and we could continue that discussion, whether or not people, Bob, are just maybe walking into these other dimensions and everything is fine when they walk in, but on our timeline, they're gone. What is that possibility?
I don't know, Dave, but I'm telling you, these stories that Paulides comes up with, they're really pretty freaky because they just produce no evidence whatsoever through any forensics mechanisms they use to ascribe a reason for why these disappearances happen. They do the usual thing of accuse all family members and friends of things, but they continue to run these cases up. And Paulides has done a really, really good job of telling these stories because they're a little bit strange, with lots of strange happenings. Just one example of this 2.5-year-old kid that climbed 1,000 feet up a mountain, had a limb wrapped around him as if tied, and an Indian tracker, found Native American tracker, found them up this mountain, and this 2.5-year-old did not climb this boulder field. So it was just really strange cases, and I have no clue what it's about.
William, what do you think? Or Rich, jump in.
I was just going to say, yesterday I was talking about this, how there was a story in the 80s, and I remember because I always watched these paranormal shows, and I think it was the one, Unsolved Mysteries, I think it was. And this lady was cleaning in her kitchen, and a man appeared there right before her. She was just cleaning, and this man looked like he was, confused. It looked like he was like from a tribal type of part of the world, like in Africa or something. I don't know if you guys know that story. I've been trying to find it. I haven't been able to, but I know I will. It's just weird how people do disappear, and they also reappear. There are stories of people appearing out of thin air. So, what about the guy who what was it? God, I can't remember. It came from another world and was back in the 50s or 60s. He got killed in New York.
Valiant Thor?
Yeah.
He got hit by a car, Turov or something. I can't remember.
I don't remember the details.
Yeah, he got...
Something like Casper Hauser?
No, that's not the name. I'll know it if I hear it.
Yeah.
But the guy got hit by a car in New York, and he had a passport that was for a place that doesn't exist on a map. Several passports for countries that don't exist. It's very strange. Yeah, I think there's like portals. Like we have tornadoes. Sorry to interrupt. And I think sometimes these spinning vortexes just eat people up. It might have to do something with the spinning of the Earth and the magnetic field and rocks and maybe things clashing together at the right time. It's very bizarre.
Alex, we got about 1:10 to go here before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Your thoughts on time slips, dimensions? Are they out there?
Yeah, I think so at this point. I have no idea what's causing it, but I think there's some pretty good data out there from, and not just people that are appearing, but people out in the forest, and all of a sudden they found themselves in a house or an environment from a few hundred years ago. That seems to happen in Europe. So it has to do, I think, obviously with the nature of time. And at some point, you should be able to prove that scientifically. If you could identify, all the what's the word I'm looking for? If you can identify spots where there's electromagnetic, anomalies or whatever, all the things that, if you can combine all the elements, you should be able to identify why this is happening, or you should be able to get some clues at some point in time. But yeah, I think something's happening. And at first, I was skeptical with the people disappearing. When I first met David, I met him about 3 times, and I didn't know that much about it. And I sat down with him, and I saw his maps and the data and the sheer number of people that disappear in the wilderness. And just from a number standpoint, you have to really take a close look at it, and it's concerning.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we're going to go to break at the bottom of the hour. The SOR Roundtable continues with Bob McGwier, Rich Giordano, William Pullin, and Alex Mistretta. And, of course, yours truly, the beautiful, luscious-haired Dave Scott, will return on Spaced Out Radio right after this.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
We're taking Sunday nights out of this world on Spaced Out Radio. This is Michael W. Hall, also known as the Paranormal Lawyer. Together, we're going to go on an exciting journey into the unknown. I'm going to bring you some of the best interviews in the paranormal and supernatural to start your new week off on a freaky note. So tune in to Spaced Out Sundays with me, Michael W. Hall, only on spacedoutradio.com.
Need that weekend supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
we're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate your time. We want to remind everybody that if you missed portions of this show or others, you could check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We got a plethora of features for you, including reading up on the newswire Captain Shirk puts together and checking out Bumblefoot and rocking out with him as well. Hey, do me a favor, follow us on Twitter if you aren't already, at Spaced Out Radio for the show, and my personal handle, at Dave Scott SOR. We're just over, what are we, like almost 7,000 now on Twitter. I want to hit 10,000 by the end of the year. Help us out. Help us get there. And, of course, what else was I going to tell you? We got this show going on tonight. It's called the SOR Roundtable, and we got some great guests here. We got from Skyhub, Bob McGwier, Alex Mistretta, the man who investigates the paranormal shirtless each and every time, the king of the khaki pants, UFO historian William Pullin, and the man of 1,000 voices, little Richie G from GUFON Radio. Gentlemen, I got a question for you, and it revolves around intuition and children. Earlier this month, we did a show about child communication and intuition with Dr. Julie Vaughn. And this fascinates me because I've had some weird experiences paranormally with my children. And a lot of parents out there have as well, whether it's children who talk about their previous lives in some sort of reincarnation, or whether it's them with their imaginary friends and things are moving around. How much should we be paying attention, Richie, to little kids when they say something completely out of the ordinary, and yet it's very relevant in the paranormal?
Oh, yeah, you know, it's hard to find proof of that, but if you hear some of the stories over, I don't know how many years, whatever, but throughout my whole life, I've heard how kids will say, if parents had one child and a child died, and then they had another child, and when that kid was able to speak, he says, "Mommy, I want to go see Aunt Jen Jen," you know, and mother goes, "Jen Jen? Jen Jen hasn't been here in a couple of years. How do you know Jen Jen?" "Oh, we used to go there," you know, and the kid's talking like he's been there, and it's very strange because they were there, but the other kid was there. I don't understand how it works, because I don't remember my past lives, if that's the truth, or is this my first time here? I don't have it in children, so I don't get those stories, but it's an amazing thing. I mean, we hear about it in adults too, so it must run really strong through a clean, sponge-like mind that is absorbing everything around its environment. It's amazing.
Alex, what is your opinion on this? Because you deal a lot in the paranormal. You've dealt with cases involving people of all ages. You know, should we be paying more attention to when children say something is happening?
Yeah, but I mean, we should be paying attention when anyone saying something is happening. But yeah, I think, you know, there's something to be said for once you're told as you start growing up as a child that these things don't exist and it's impossible, that you sort of turn off, you know, those antennas, and you're not able to perceive, you know, that world on some level. Because I think, once again, you can't, whatever happens in any kind of, you know, psychic phenomena, whether it's a poltergeist case or a haunting, which is very different, it's always about an interaction between the environment, something else that's there, and the observer, you know. And once you take, like with a child, when you say to a child, "This is not true, this doesn't happen, this doesn't exist," you're turned off the part of the observer. So you're taking, one equation out of the picture completely, and I think that can potentially negate phenomena. And sure, sometimes kids just have imaginations. I mean, it's not always, a case where something anomalous is happening. But that's my kind of my perception of it anyway.
One of the stories that I know personally, and I've said this a couple times on the air throughout the years, I have a friend of mine, and her daughter and my daughter went to kindergarten together, and they grew up together. And from the age of 2, this child is now, she'll be turning 21. She was addicted to the Titanic, would tell stories about the Titanic. And this is a girl, my friend never really believed in cable. Okay, so they didn't, she wasn't a television watcher. They never talked about Titanic or anything along those lines, except the little girl at the time, she's now a fully grown woman, would talk about the Titanic and even gave a name. And when my friend went and checked out who died on the Titanic, that name was there. And the girl gave the name at 3 years old. There's no way she would have known that.
God.
Absolutely not. Right? And she talks about it. To this day, she's obsessed with the Titanic. And, it's one of those famous cases, because everybody, you never hear somebody mention in reincarnation, William, that they were a slave in Africa in 492 BC. They were always Cleopatra. They were always a Greek god. They were always somebody famous, or of level of importance, and I take that very strongly because I want to believe in reincarnation, but I'm not sure if it's actually out there. But when it comes to kids, how do we judge what we should consider imagination? Because kids have great imaginations. I mean, it's beautiful to watch my son. Yeah. But on the flip side, maybe there's some truth here.
Yeah, we certainly should pay attention. We shouldn't just cast it aside as imagination. No, we should pay attention. I think, again, like the scientific method, give it time. As this child develops and grows and matures, does that stuff continue? Do they continue to make statements that they're not knowledgeable about, yet somehow they have knowledge of this stuff? I mean, if that continues, then it becomes less and less likely that it's a mundane explanation, and more likely this person has some level of clairvoyance or whatever the case may be. And there's scientific data to suggest that some people have that ability to greater or lesser degrees, and that's open for debate. But the data is out there. So I think like what Alex said, I mean, there certainly are some kids that certainly have imaginations. Kids have great imaginations. But you just can't cast that aside. We should pay attention to it because it won't always, 2 and 2 don't always add up to 4 as far as the paranormal. But if we don't pay attention, we won't know. So the behavior continues as the child grows. Then it becomes a little more, the case becomes stronger, that something anomalous is actually going on, as opposed to just having imagination. And you're right about the whole thing with reincarnation. People always label themselves as being important people in history. You don't hear them saying that, I was a janitor at the Empire State Building in 1940. It's just some non-important, not that a janitor is important, but a non-famous individual. That's never said. It's like, in my work in the UFO field, I've never heard a UFO witness say, well, most likely my event was mundane in nature, is explainable. I never hear that. I always hear it was bizarre. It was, they clearly made up their mind that it's aliens. I never hear the opposite. I never hear someone saying, well, after you investigate, you're probably going to find it's probably just something explainable. It never happened. So, but yeah, it should be paid attention to, because the potential is there for something paranormal, certainly.
Science Bob, what says you?
Look, Dave, we barely scratched the surface in understanding anything about consciousness. I mean, we're self-aware, but we don't know what makes that work. And the fact that we can't even write down like reasonable theory of consciousness in order to even construct experiments about it, we shouldn't reject anything. That's bad science, to reject data. So a kid telling you something's happening or asking you to observe something with them, if you reject it, you're not a good scientist because it's data. You don't want to interpret it in a way that may damage the child or whatever, but you want to listen, because this is data, and we need to figure out some way to describe consciousness and a theory around it so we can have testable experiments. So we need to make good guesses, and based on these good guesses, construct experiments to see if our guesses are right, and start working hard on what consciousness is. And I suspect we're going to find consciousness is non-local, and probably survives the death of the body. There's just too many people describing ghosts and other things for it to all be baloney. So it's just bad science to reject it.
So at what point do we say, okay, that's imagination and that's really happening? Like I look at my little boy. I've had a couple of strange experiences with him, and I not that I try and promote aliens or promote ghosts or Bigfoot or anything along those lines, but if he has something happen, like we've experienced with the floating lights in our kitchen, I want to know about it. And I want to believe him. And it's easy to believe when you see it yourself. You know what I'm saying? I just think we're too quick to dismiss children, Bob.
Well, I totally agree. And the other thing is, anything you can set up as repeatable, that is very valuable. Yes. Because that means it's testable. So anything you can encourage your son to have a repeatable experience, you should do everything you can to gather all the evidence you can, video, audio, whatever kind of sensor you can put around it to see if you can gather data. That helps you and it helps you to understand, and you can help him. And it's good not to reject it, especially if you've seen it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I need to do, and I think all parents need to do. But how about the reincarnation part, though, guys? All right, especially with children. I mean, there's that famous case from India about 9 years ago, where a child came back. Okay, a child was born, and then when he was old enough to speak, he named his murderer from his previous life, and that person ended up going to jail over it because he was so freaked out the child named him as the murderer that he actually took responsibility for his actions and pled guilty. I mean, we see this stuff happening. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, clearly some of this stuff is what's being reported is anomalous. And you're right. We should not cast it aside. Going to Bob's point, we need all data. Not just data that confirms our own belief structure. Not just that, all data. Whether it ends up being pro-UFO or pro-paranormal or not, doesn't matter. All data, all evidence to be examined. We need to also, agree, we need to not just cast this stuff aside, because the potential is there for truly anomalous things. But the other side of the coin, we can't also embrace all of it either. It doesn't make sense to think that every single claim being made is paranormal in nature. That's not the case either. It has to be a healthy, objective approach to it. A dogmatic approach, either anti-paranormal or pro-paranormal, where we embrace everything or cast aside everything. Neither one of those works either. So we need to be cautious and look at all this stuff, not just stuff that we accept as valid. That's not reasonable either.
Can you imagine how many kids get dismissed and the parents go, "Who are you talking to, Joey?" "Oh, my imaginary friend." "Oh, he always talks to his imaginary friend." I mean, he's talking to something or someone maybe. It's weird. Like, who? Who are you talking to? We've heard stories where kids were doing that. and they were talking about their mom's mother, like grandma, that they never met.
Yeah.
It's amazing what information comes through, but how does that come through? Even if you get that evidence and you gather it all up, how is it happening?
Yeah, yeah. What is the mechanism that's making that possible? Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem. You know, we can collect data, but yeah, that's the problem. You know, we don't know how it works, how it happens.
It might also not be innate to a particular individual. We always look at it as somebody has this ability to access this or this ability to do this, psychic clear or whatnot. But if there's a model where all information is out there on all times, and under particular conditions, maybe certain individuals are able to access that information. So let's say, going back to reincarnation, people remembering a past life, right, very detailed, and it can be proven subsequently. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's their past life, right? What if they're just accessing information that's out there
in the ether? Yeah, because energy always circulates, maybe.
Right.
Well, I always thought that's what dreams were. When we're sleeping, we're gathering information in the ether, and it's just passing through us, and we're able to decipher it in certain ways.
Yeah.
Or not.
Guys, we're going to move on here. We got about 6.5, 7 minutes before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. The SOR Paranormal Roundtable, Rich Giordano, Alex Mistretta, Bob McGwier, and William Pullin tonight. Gentlemen, a week ago tonight, we had Ron Bumblefoot Thal on the show, and he was telling us an eerie story about playing in Plovdiv in a concert there with his band Sons of Apollo. And that was the first time ever in 30 years that he's been performing where he actually got attacked paranormally by what he felt was a ghost on stage. He's never fallen on stage. He got shoved down. His pick got ripped out of his hand. He's got a guitar, his VJ guitar, which purposely is built not to go out of tune. Well, it went out of tune. The top string kept going out of tune, and he'd have to retune it right in the middle of songs. And this has never happened before. Now, I know a lot of people who are famous have come out. They're usually after their careers are done, and we see all these D-League, E-League, and F-League actors and actresses trying to resurrect their career by all of a sudden becoming paranormal investigators or telling their ghost stories. But how much more would it be a boost to the paranormal publicly if famous people actually admitted publicly when something strange or weird happened, Alex?
I don't know. I don't know if it would have any more impact than it already does, because there's certain perception of artists, whether they're in the music industry or in Hollywood, that they're eccentric, they're kind of out there. So maybe it would be a hit sensation out on social media, and maybe it would bring awareness that way. But in terms of validating paranormal, I'm not convinced it would have that much of a beneficial impact.
How about you, Science Bob?
I'm not sure it'll have a positive impact. Look, I mean, these ghost and paranormal television shows, they're huge media. They're inexpensive to make, and they're making a lot of money on them. So there's a lot of interest. I don't know that it would benefit. I don't know. Well, there's so much stuff out there. I think what we need to do is, I know I'm a broken record. We need a better way to collect evidence that is beyond stories.
Yes.
Richie G?
Dave, one of the few times I love the question more than I can give the answer, because I love that when you're an actor, you have to open your mind, or a performer. You have to go to a place that a lot of regular Joes don't go to, who aren't creators or write songs or do things that have to put their mind in a certain state to perform at a high level. And I think that opens the paranormal ways to an actor or a performer, because they are doing something with their mind. It's almost like a form of meditation. They get into what's called the zone, and that zone is a different vibration, which may actually bring the paranormal to them. Maybe, they got in tune with the spirit that was very musical, but didn't like the music that Bumblefoot was playing that night. Wanted him to be quiet. It's amazing the things that come out of celebrities' mouths when they talk about having ghost experiences. Like Roddy Piper saw his friend visit him a few times, and it had to do with the fire that happened in the house. I don't remember the whole thing, but when he told the story, I kind of connected with it in a way. I think it really helps to have celebrities do that. Even if you're getting them years later, I like the new perception and hearing them at a different time in their life, because when they were 20 years in the past, they were doing drugs maybe, or just zoning out, whatever it was. Whatever it is, they were connecting somehow and didn't even realize it.
All right, William Pullin.
Capiche?
I don't think it'll move us forward. No, in the overall grand scheme of things, it would just be another story of an encounter with an apparition or what have you, something paranormal, with no physical evidence. It kind of continues on the same scenario that's been going on all this time. So I don't think we'll move it forward. I mean, it might garner more attention because it would be a known individual giving their testimony. That in that way, I guess it would make it more known to the general public, I guess. But that doesn't really move the field forward, because that doesn't garner any kind of scientifically valid investigative results. So it would just be another story.
Which is good.
I wish I could give you another answer, but it seems like that. Yeah, it would just be more testimony, another story. That's it.
See, I think the power of celebrity could change a lot more if many of them were telling the story rather than trying to resurrect their career with some B League or C League reality TV show. You know what I'm saying? That's where I think if you had somebody, whoever's popular today, come on out and say, hey, this is what's happening to me, it would be amazing. I think it would open up the minds of a lot of people, right? I mean, there is high intense rumors out there that a young singer like Ariana Grande, or Grande, however you pronounce her last name, is extremely psychic and has had to, ever since that shootout that happened, at one of her concerts in England, where, unfortunately a lot of people got killed in that terrorist attack, that she has been haunted by a lot of those spirits ever since. If that came out in public, I think that would be a good thing, because she has a lot of pull with young people and her fans. And it might give somebody the courage to say, hey, I've experienced something. I've experienced aliens, or I see dead people. I communicate with spirits, and that's how we start to open it up and get more people talking. So I think that it could have a very positive response. On that note, gentlemen, I'm going to get you to hold on, because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. And when we come back, when we come back, we're going to get into a lot of really cool stuff, because we got 1 hour left on Spaced Out Radio. And we're going to find out about the Philip experiment. What do you know about it? If you don't know about it, we'll break it down for you right here on Spaced Out Radio.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you'd know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hey everyone, I'm John Edwards.
And I'm Stacey Edwards. Together we're taking over Saturday nights on Spaced Out Radio, where we're going to bring our own experiences of the paranormal and talk to the best people we can find to help bring you answers to your strange tales.
We're here to entertain your need for weekend woo! So tune us in at spacedoutradio.com starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, where we can all get a little spooky together.
Spaced Out Saturday nights right here at spacedoutradio.com.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night, where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightlines Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines report on the Spaced Out Radio website and let's figure out what's going on together.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Here we go, kicking off the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. I appreciate you taking the time to join us where we kind of take you away from the ugliness of the world right now and take you on a trip down to Wooville. We welcome everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and on the digital slide on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. All of our archives are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Erday. Erday is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here in Spaced Out Radio Land. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including Rockin' Out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, so make sure you check that on out. And, of course, follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, as well my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. We bring in the panel for the SOR Roundtable, which we conclude every month. And, you know, we get into some weird and strange stories from the month that was. And one of our guests brought up a topic called the Philip Experiment. And we're going to get the panel's opinion of this as we introduce again UFO historian William Pullin, from Skyhub, Bob McGwier, researcher Alex Mistretta, and from GUFON Radio, Rich Giordano. Gentlemen, I bring you in here. How many of you know what the Philip Experiment is?
You mean Conjuring Phillips?
Conjuring Philip.
So it's this,
yes,
isn't it the
Conjuring
seance,
Philip.
the seances in Canada?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So for those who don't know, the Philip Experiment happened in 1972 in Toronto. And what happened was these parapsychologists, led by a gentleman who is a mathematical geneticist named Dr. A.R. George Owen, and psychologist Dr. Joel Witten, they came up with this experiment to build a fictional character through a purposeful methodology and the attempt to communicate with it through science. The character they agreed upon with the name of Philip Aylesford, referring to Philip during the test. Now, they built a fictional history of him that coincided with actual events in places, but there were multiple contradictions and errors. Allegedly, he was born in 1624 in England, had an early military career, was knighted by the age of 16, involved in the English Civil War. Well, as they continued to build up this character, they started trying to contact this fake Philip through Ouija boards, through seances, and other paranormal communication. And eventually, they started getting results. The participants started feeling a presence, table vibrations, breezes, unexplained echoes, rapping sounds, which matched responses to questions about Philip's life. At one point, the table tilted onto a single leg during the experiment of a seance. This is all what we talk about creating a tulpa. Alex, I want to start you off with this one. What's your thoughts on something like this?
I think that's the very nature of what we call poltergeist phenomena. I think it's self-generated, which is different from a traditional haunting. And when people start talking about, ghosts, typical ghosts and all that. So I'm a big believer in it because of all the cases that I've done with, for those who don't know, I worked for years with Dr. Barry Taft. And if you start looking into people's personalities, their consciously, subconsciously, their past, their interactions with people around them, their kids, their husband, wives, whatever, those interactions, those feelings towards people start showing up in these poltergeists that they are describing. So I'm a big believer in conjuring Phillips in that sense. It's like, personally, I always felt that poltergeist phenomena was kind of like the physical expression of your id. So it's unconscious desires, unconscious feelings and all that. But in this case, they took it to another level where they gave it a name, they give it a history and all that. And I think it's just the next step from what we call poltergeist phenomena. So I really believe this happens more often than people are aware.
Well, this would be almost the equivalent in today's tradition of what we know of Slender Man and the conjuring up of that. Would it not, Alex?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot that, excuse me, I'm choking a little bit. I think that happens a lot more, again, that people think, look how many times you have a haunting of Marilyn Monroe or a famous actor that died in the 40s or 50s. They're everywhere, all over Los Angeles. They're haunted every spot around Los Angeles, which is, at some point you start thinking, well, it's impossible, right? They're not, Marilyn Monroe is not at this spot and that spot and this spot and at the cemetery and at the hotel and all that. But what if it's people's perception of what Marilyn Monroe was, and that's what they're manifesting, or that's what they're seeing, or maybe that's how the interaction with another intelligence happens. It doesn't communicate through language, but through archetypes. So what we're seeing is over projecting, and so in a way, it tells us a lot more about us than it does about them.
Rich, what's your thoughts in regards to this?
Well, I am Mick. I've done my own experiment because I thought in sky watching, looking for UFOs, that I may have been creating these things with my mind. And I actually thought that I was seeing images, like if I was at night recording a star, let's say Sirius, and then I played it back and I did it frame by frame, I would actually see, and my wife at the time saw them too, little alien figures imprinted on the screen. And I said, before I called her in, I said, what do you see on the screen? She goes, little aliens like you draw. And that's amazing. I would draw little big-headed aliens, and there they were on the screen. And I did an experiment where I put a light source at the end of a hallway, recorded myself in thought of squares. And if the squares appeared on the recorder, then it's possible it was transmitting from my brain to the recorder. It didn't happen till like the 20th time it did. And then we were able to duplicate triangles and circles. It's very bizarre. So does your brain create this magical paranormal universe? Is that why Zach Bagans of Ghost Adventures Crew sees and hears so much? Because his mind is so involved with everybody else's? It's crazy field.
Totally crazy field. Totally crazy field. William, your opinion in regards to this?
I don't know, but the way you described it, you have parapsychologists looking at this stuff. So you have highly qualified people examining a paranormal, an aspect of the paranormal. I'd like to know if the investigative results are published. Take a look at them, or is it just a story? We don't know. Yeah.
Here's some of the results. The experiment was criticized for lacking solid controls and providing ambiguous results due to the unreliability of seances. Repeated tests, which created fictional characters named Lilith and Humphrey, yielded similar results under similar circumstances and were deemed inconclusive. Overseeing psychologist Joel Witten concluded that the effects were produced by participants as a subconscious defense mechanism, causing their behavior to regress to childlike mentality.
Huh. Well, other groups
so there's some,
Sorry, go ahead.
No, so the conclusions weren't definitive. There's some, not pushback, but there's some discourse there. There's some disagreement as to what actually happened. There's some criticism there, which is a legitimate criticism, by the way, too. So, that's interesting. But still, that's still a step in the right direction. I kind of ranted off the air about how some organizations and researchers don't publish their findings. That's amateurish. But at least in this case, it was published. Regardless of what the conclusions were, they were published for all of us to look at. That's a positive thing. So, despite the discord as far as their conclusions, they might have uncovered something truly anomalous, and they're simply getting a little pushback because scientists are a little reticent to change their mind or accept outside the box thinking. But they might have uncovered something really groundbreaking in that series of experiments. So,
are there hundreds?
That's very interesting.
Are there hundreds of sessions that we could look at, or is there just a few?
You would hope hundreds. You would hope it would be a cross-section of data, a large cross-section. It can't be like 10. It's got to be a long-term
years.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's large number statistics is being applied rather than trying to do it with small number. But if there's large number of cases, I think you can draw, you can do statistics and interpret them reasonably.
Yes, you have to have a large cross-section of data. If you don't, that's not the scientific method. That's not good enough. No. You can't go ghost hunting for a week at a hot spot. Not good enough. You need to conduct experiments for, say, a year at a hot spot and in a place that's not a hot spot, and compare and contrast the results of that. That's good enough. But a week, no. So what we see on a TV show is not good enough. It's not a long enough cross-section of data. So, but despite that, I mean, it's published results. So that's a good thing.
Science Bob.
So I think that given what I've heard, I want to go find the data and see what's available. But they're doing the right thing by conducting some controlled experiments. And to the extent the controls were insufficient, that's what happens when you do science. Is your experimental methodology is criticized by your peers. But this is really a good thing. And there have been others at Duke University, and Dr. William Roll, who was Amy Allen's professor and graduate advisor and mentor and so forth. And she's a famous person that does all sorts of stuff like this. And I just think as more scientists get involved and learn and help people learn how to gather sufficient data on which science can be done, we can prove a lot of stuff. I don't want to reject it, as I've just made the comments earlier, that we do not know enough about consciousness to say things are right or wrong or can't be. We need to do really good science to try to figure out reasonable hypotheses based on what we observe. And that's so, but I think we all realize that Western civilization has been tied up inextricably with puritanical thinking because of religion. And lots of things that could have been observed and tested have been rejected because they were thought to be evil. And we need to get past this and do science.
Agreed. Yep. Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, the fact that we are getting these types of results from our own minds, that tells me that we have this innate power to be able to use our minds to create things to move, whether it's a table tipping on one leg or whether it's a planchette moving on a Ouija board. Do we even know that we have tapped into this own power, Bob?
So I'm going to tell you that Third Eye Spies and other things that the Central Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, and many others paid Hal Puthoff and Russell Targ and other people to investigate, and then built up schools to train people to do psi and remote viewing and other things. They spent a lot of money doing it. I don't believe they did it for 30 or 40 years and then claim they stopped when I don't believe they did without getting results. So I think the government has done enough studies to know whether or not the phenomena is real. And my guess is that they have enough data to say that this is real, not that they have an explanation for how it works.
Anybody want to comment on what Bob said?
Yeah, I mean, even universities ran tested experiment that was statistically significant in terms of testing like what's called micro PK. So it's whether the mind can influence chance. They use like a random generator, numbers generator, and at Stanford they're able to see if people could affect the outcome. And as it turns out, it was statistically significant that people could influence the outcome. And granted, that's like a micro level, right? If you just take that up a notch to a macro level, that's when you get things where, moving tables back and forth and knocks and that whole thing. So we're on our way. The only problem is that funding for that kind of experiment completely stopped. No one does it anymore. And that's why we're stuck where we're at.
The Ryan Research Center has been at Duke University for a long time. And I agree with Alex that the funding has probably gone down, but I think it has an independent endowment that allows it to continue, and it still does research as it has done for decades.
The thing is no field research, so everything's done in the lab at the micro level. I think it's time to start, combining the two, because there's such a separation in the psychic world between parapsychology and ghost hunters. And unfortunately, television kind of makes ghost hunters look stupid. It's all staged and it's all scripted and all that. So people, but that idea of going out there and conducting field research and bringing back data is valid. You're not under controlled conditions, granted, but not all of science is done under controlled conditions because it can't be. So we need to bring back kind of both sides of the equation, both the lab work, the parapsychology, and the idea to go out with bigger ideas and doing more field research.
We know a lot about blue whales, the largest mammal ever on the face of the earth, and we haven't put one in a laboratory yet.
Yes. Yeah, there are
big laboratory,
ways to look inside. Yeah, repeatability is not. There are things you can prove scientifically that repeatability is not quite necessary. I mean, but yeah, you're right. Not all things are in the laboratory. You can make field observations and boots on the ground work that confirm the reality of things that are thought to be possibilities. So, yeah, the blue whale is a perfect example. It's never been in a laboratory. So,
well, there you go. There you go. Gentlemen, we've got 4.5 minutes to go here before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Do you think, then, that a lot of these characters, whether it's Philip, we mentioned Slender Man, we hear a lot of these alleged ghosts that are out there. I heard one the other night, just last night, Flannel Man. Apparently there's Canadians in plaid running around with axes in the forests of the United States, and they're called Flannel Man. And I'm hearing these ones. How much of this is actual cryptid talk, or is it these tulpas that we've created because of overactive imagination, Alex?
Both. There's never. It's not either or. I think. I don't know about the Flannel Man. That sounds so Canadian, but yeah, I think we can create. We can create our own tulpas, our own reality on some level, but there's also, a lot of people telling tall tales out there and a lot of imagination. And, there's another aspect that we don't really consider, and that's like brain manipulation, through infrasound, which happens naturally when you're out in the woods or in certain houses during storms, and creates hallucinations. So there's a lot of, not everything's either psychic or imagination. There are natural phenomena that can have you think that you're seeing or feeling something. So
it's very interesting. It's very interesting indeed. Little Richie G, tulpas,
so many...
are we creating them?
Well, maybe. Like, like certain places see certain cryptids more than others. Some see Bigfoot in the Northwest, the United States, where down in, in the deserts we see grays or reptilians. I don't know if that's because that's what we're conditioned through TV or where we live or something. But it's just weird what people see in different parts of the country. I could understand that they would be more adaptable to live in a forest than they would a reptilian in a desert. So I can understand that part of it. But that means they've been here a while and they've been studying us. And how long have they been here? In my opinion, of course. But are they going in and out of dimensions? There are so many different things. It's just too much to take in. Like, you can't be an expert in everything. In Bigfoot, UFOs, ghosts. Can you? Is it all the same thing? Is it all connected? Sometimes I wonder if it all is. I don't know. There's just so many different things going on. It's impossible to keep track of it. So what does that mean? Is our world more paranormal than normal? I say yes.
Well, I don't know if it's more paranormal, but I'm pretty sure that there are active imaginations out there that are really, really pushing the paranormal side and the stages to the limits, William.
Yeah, people are going to see what they want to see. But going to Rich's comment, there's a lot of things we don't understand about the universe around us. There are. We think we're so intelligent, we know a lot about our universe. We don't. There are many unknowns out there, which does not mean all the unknowns are paranormal per se. But certainly there are things out there we can't explain that would strongly suggest they are. So it's going to Richie's. I keep referring to because Richard made some great comments tonight. You're right. There's no such thing as a UFO expert. There's no such thing as an expert in Bigfoot. How could you be an expert in Enigma? It's a question. No one has any answers. An expert has answers. There may be individuals that know a lot about the data and what's being reported, but an expert by definition should have some answers, and there are none. We don't know what's going on. We have no idea. We're trying to speculate in an informed way, which is productive. It's good. We need to look at what's been reported and make some educated guesses. But do we have any definitive answers? No, we don't. And that's where increasing the quality of our investigations, not just science, but the way we think about these things, thinking on a higher level, a more productive level, may get us moving in a positive direction. What we've been doing for a while now, several decades, isn't good enough. We need to all step it up on some level. That's each and every one of us. And maybe at some point we can figure some of these things out. So,
well, maybe we'll see as we go into the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Coming up after this, the SOR Paranormal Roundtable continues with Little Richie G, Sweet William Pullin, Science Bob, and the shirtless wonder Alex Mistretta on Spaced Out Radio right after this.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio fans! It's John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from dance to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Need that weekend supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for tuning us in. We want to remind you that you can check out all of our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including Rockin' Out to Bumblefoot, and Captain Shirk has her updated newswire, updated daily. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show, and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. For the final time tonight, I introduce the SOR Roundtable panel. We have from Skyhub, Bob McGwier, UFO historian William Pullin, researcher extraordinaire Alex Mistretta, and from GUFON Radio, little Richie G. Now, gentlemen, I want to be able to have some fun here this last half hour, because it doesn't matter whether it's this show, other shows, television shows that involve the paranormal, supernatural, ufological, they get ripped new ones by absolutely everybody who has one way or another experienced phenomena or follows this field or participates in this field. Yet for the mainstream public, television shows of this ilk are red hot. For the most part, they are massive in their ratings. They are bringing in these television stations and channels like Sci-Fi, History, millions of dollars in advertising revenue. And earlier this month, we had Dave Schrader on, formerly of Darkness, or currently of Darkness Radio, and of the Holzer Files. And, you know, one of the things that he professed was in his contract, he actually has it that they don't allow any sort of fakery, as has been seen on other television shows in the past, which I think is kind of cool. And I'm going to take Dave at his word, because from everything I know about him, he's a pretty honest guy. Okay, he's one of the good ones in this field, and I got a lot of respect for him on that. So I'm putting it to you guys. And Pullin, we'll start with you because, you know, I know your khaki slacks are pretty tight on this type of topic. If you were to put together your ultimate paranormal, supernatural, ufological television show, give me 3 researchers that you would want on there and what you would base it on.
Do those researchers have to be alive?
Well, preferably, because it would be really hard to get them to speak on camera if they weren't.
Okay, that's true. Okay. Kevin Randall and Don Burleson. And the third would be, oh, gosh. I'll think of the third one in a bit. But the premise of the show would be historically accurate presentations of some of the strongest UFO cases. Historically accurate. High production values. These cases are fascinating, outstanding, troubling, truly anomalous in nature. Multiple witness cases, radar visuals that are fascinating in and of themselves, that don't need any kind of story written about them. You can present them as they happened, and it would be fascinating and outstanding. to produce. I'm a big stickler for elimination of misinformation. So these cases would be portrayed as they happened, 100% accurate. If we're unable to produce them accurately, we won't produce them. We'll move on to the case. We're talking about Lake and East Bentwaters in 56. We're talking about Roswell. We're talking about Stephenville. We're talking about Phoenix Lights. We're talking about Socorro. All these cases that are multiple witnesses that we have documentation about. And whether the explanation leads to the extraterrestrial or not, the cases are fascinating. If they're portrayed accurately, that's a favor to the public. That's a favor to the field. So I can't think of the third researcher. Peter Sturrock, I think he's still around. I guess that would be three. Yeah, I would go that route.
All right. Science Bob, what would your topic be, and what would you do to put your own television show together?
Oh, my goodness. So, I just don't know enough people in the paranormal and UFO field to make good choices about who would be on there. So I'd have to pick a science team and try to design some science experiments, and it would be people probably nobody in the UFO field would know. Actual scientists I know that would be willing to put their name on a paper claiming they had done these experiments. I'm just too new to this to know really good researchers that I would completely trust because I don't know any of them. It's not because I don't think there are any. I just don't know any. So let me demur.
Oh, come on. You're telling me that Science Bob's Caped Adventures would not be a fantastic title?
Well, I've had some great adventures, but my whole life is full of great adventures. Unfortunately, too many of them, the stories can't be told. So I don't know. If it's going to be in UFOs and paranormals, I don't know that right now I could put together a team.
Oh, come on. We know
you and I can produce this show together. So.
Well, we know the first person that Science Bob is getting is Chris Mellon. Has to be.
Oh, well, I put Chris Mellon on there, of course.
Exactly. I can't choose your team for you, man.
Well, that's a pretty good choice. I'd probably want a historian. I probably want a historian, so I'd probably ask Pullin. And
I'd work for free.
Exactly. So would I on this kind of thing. Let's see.
You need some eye candy, Science Bob. You need some eye candy.
There's some eye candy in San Antonio in the UFO field, but I can't reveal any names. But
I again, I'm going to have to plead ignorance.
All right. Alex, how about you? If you're putting together the ultimate television show, what are you doing? What are you naming it? Who's joining you?
Oh, man, it would depend on the subject. Do you want me to be specific to subject or just one in general?
No, take it wherever you feel you need to go, man. We got the time.
Well, I have about 20 shows in my head, so I'll just pick just one. I would do one on African cryptozoology because that's my specialty. And the guys I would go with would be Ken Gerhard, Adam Davis, he's of the Oren Pendek fame, and some French who would call Michel Bayot because he spent a lot of time in Africa on the terrain. Do you guys ever see remember The Thing, the movie from the 1980s?
Yes.
Right? Do you remember? Yeah. So does anybody remember that scene at the end where they're around the campfire and there's this atmosphere around the campfire and they're talking and one of them's, it's the alien, but you can feel kind of like that intensity?
Yeah. No.
I would start off my documentary like that because I would want to have that feel. And the rest of it, obviously, this would require a lot of money, but I would film it just like one of the Disney nature films or those National Geographic, documentaries. Just treat it absolutely the same way you would any other nature documentaries. And from there, we would go on and there's a handful of specific animals that I have in mind in Africa. And we would go to each spot just like you would film an exploration. in those other high budget documentary, but it would have to be really high budget. But I would also focus on the individual involved, because how often do you actually find something you're looking for, right? You go out on an expedition, it's really rare the first time out for you to find something. So if you don't make it interesting, if you don't have the atmosphere around it to make it interesting, then, people are going to check out, sort of deal. So, I mean, that would be my take, just do it just like any other nature documentary, proving that you do it just like this is biology and not reality television.
Finally, little Richie G.
All right. Name of my show would be called Ghost Crop UFO and Spiritual. It would include Linda Moulton Howdy Doody. She would be she knows all the connections. She's a face people would recognize because she's been in all the fields. Then I would go with either Grant Cameron or Richard Dolan, because I don't want Greer to be a part of it. So maybe we'll use both Grant and Dolan, and I'd have myself thrown in the mix. So it's 1 and 3, Ghost Crop, UFO, and Spiritual. And it would be like a nice, like they do on ESPN. They have all of us in a box in a corner. We watch a video. We rate the video. We ask the experts. We even call a friend, maybe have a fake game show. I don't know. But people would be interested. And I'm telling you, people would be talking about it. And we need to have that. And that's who I'd start my show with.
Which hat would you wear?
All of them. Everybody will do it my way. It'll be great. Oh, I got so many ideas. UFO Jeopardy, forget about it. I see they tried to rob that at one of them MUFON things. Are you kidding me? Open minds. I'm sorry, Dave. I went off.
No, that's quite all right. If old Davey was going to put a show together, I would bring in some people who I feel really deserve a shot, because they're hard workers. They don't do it for a lot. Okay, they're not doing it to get the press. Some even aren't even on social media. And I would bring that. Well, I understand that, but hey, not every. But what I'm saying though is I would want to bring in, and this is my perfect world. I'm sure my show would tank. All right, but I would want to bring in people who are doing the investigation for the right reasons. They're out to actually prove what is actually happening in a paranormal, supernatural way. And they're taking the time to track things down. They're not, bringing a drum set into the forest to play, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida or whatever, right? They're not doing that. They're not jumping around and turning up the volume on the music just so you could say, what was that? What was that? Oh, my God. Did you hear that? No, because your audio guy turned up the music in the background. Couldn't hear it, thing, Or with UFOs, I really liked what they were doing on UFO Hunters. I think something like that needs to be brought back, too. However, of course, there's no drama or anything like that, so my show would tank, won't get the ratings, nobody will like it, and I got a face for radio. So that's pretty much why my show would tank, but that's what I would like to see happen. I want to see conclusions. What do people think? And too many times, especially with ghost shows, too many times we go, oh, well, we were invited to this haunted location to see if it's haunted or not. Yep, it's haunted. Oh, my God. Really? I could have told you that when you were invited there. But that's just me. Who am I? Just a guy with a radio show.
I feel bad. I thought you were just saying what would be the most popular show. I misunderstood. Oh, all right. It sounds like a nice show, Dave. I take back what I said.
No, you wouldn't like it. You wouldn't watch.
No, I would watch. No. I watch everything.
I know. Would you watch Science Bob?
I would watch.
You lie. You're just saying that to make me feel
No,
better.
I'd watch it. No. You don't need to be made feel good. because I busted your chops earlier. I got to make you feel good now.
That's what I felt like too.
You know, and hey,
Well, yeah.
I might get one conference out of it. That's all that matters to me.
This is true.
I want one conference. I do want one conference. All right, guys. I'm going to put you guys on the spot here. So we got about 7 minutes left about 5 minutes left in the roundtable tonight. Going into June, as we kick this new month off, where do you see things going in the field of ufology in the next month? Do we see more intricate details coming out, Alex, or is it same old, just stay in the sleeping bag and continue to sleep?
Same old. We haven't given him a reason to give us anything different. So here we are.
Oh, come on. You could do better than that. Give me some drama, man.
I got nothing, man. I just don't see it going anywhere. I mean, I think it's going to get further tied into all the politics and, and the conspiracies and all that stuff seems to have infiltrated ufology to such a degree. And as we get closer to the election, I think that's going to play a bigger role in the field of ufology, unfortunately. But in terms of real ufology and research and all that stuff, I don't think anything's happening anytime soon.
Science Bob, you're in the mix. You're in the know.
No, I get it, but I just think it's going to take quite a while, and not much is going to happen in June. And we're just going to take a steady, plodding approach to get some real data that people will buy into. So I don't see much happening in June.
William Pullin?
Nothing's going to change. No, to change the situation as it stands now is going to take a long time. It's going to take boots on the ground work and more scientific endeavors in that direction to change the research. I'm using the research in quotes. The research efforts that have been conducted up to this point for some 80 years. So it wouldn't change in a month. I could see it changing in a few years. It would be like Bob says, a slow plodding grind to change to shift things into a more productive in a more productive way. So it could be done in a month. No,
all right,
not at all.
Little Richie G, you got a final word on this one?
Well, if you want to, nothing in June probably, but after that, we got those alien medals that we need to hear from. With TTSA and the unidentified show wasn't released at the end of May, so I think we're going to see things kickstart next year. I think this year it's just too much has gone on because of what the world experienced. So it's sad, but it's true. Everything's on hold. So don't expect much except to hear from NASA, comets, earthquakes, and other natural disasters and things in interstellar world that are coming into our solar system for the first time, which is interesting. Don't you guys find that wild? For the first time ever, two things? Never mind.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
Rapid fire questions, guys. We got about 2 minutes here, just over 2 minutes here. Rapid fire questions. Who, in your opinion, is the most underrated ufologist that many people probably have not heard of, or maybe have heard of, but just don't put them on their list? Who's the most underrated? Rich, we'll start with you.
The most underrated? That's hard. Because all of the ufologists that I've watched, I no longer believe them anymore. They sold out or disappeared. So me. Me. Hello?
I knew you were going there. Hold on. Let me check the magic 8 ball here.
It's
let me
true,
check the
though.
magic 8
ball. Do we know the magic 8 ball knows everything? I don't know if I want to know the answer.
The answer is ask again later.
Thank you for blocking. I'm blocking right now. My 8 ball is very historic and old.
Yes.
I'm blocking.
All right. Science Bob, in your opinion, who is the most underrated ufologist or person in the field?
I really like Michael Schratt and all of his work, and I just don't think he's well known enough.
Michael Schratt is incredible.
Yeah, that's true.
He's amazing. He's just not well known enough.
I totally fangirl over Michael Schratt. Totally do. He is so impressive. Yep. He really is. That's a good call. Good call. William Pullin?
Oh, God. I'll probably say Donald Burleson, who lives in Roswell. Doesn't have any books out, twin PhDs, scientific method, well-spoken, driven. Unfortunately, he's in his late 70s, so he's still pushing forward. But no one really knows his name, so I'd go with him.
All right. Alex, who's the most underrated?
Christopher O'Brien.
Should have won Researcher of the Year last year. Should have.
Christopher? Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. But instead, that went to Jeremy Corbell. Mine, a good friend of mine. Samantha Mowat. Best kept secret in ufology, Samantha Mowat. And if you haven't heard her story, go to samanthamowat.ca or her YouTube channel, Samantha Mowat. Cannot say enough good things about her panel. Little Richie G from GUFON Radio, thank you for coming on. UFO historian William Pullin from Sky Hub, Science Bob McGwier, and, of course, the man who has no T-shirt on, doesn't even own a T-shirt, but he has a surfboard, Alex Mistretta. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on the panel, guys. That was absolutely stunning and fantastic. Great show. Appreciate you guys taking the time to finish off a great month of weird and strange and supernatural. Really appreciate that. You guys hold on a second here because we got to wrap this thing up. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, wherever you may be. Thank you to everybody participating in our chat rooms tonight on Spreaker, LGAB, YouTube, Revolution Radio, Facebook, the SOR Space Travelers Club on our website, and to all the snarkers and snarkettes on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You are fabulous. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Remember, everybody, the Woo train may have pulled into its dock, but the ride never ends. Your ticket never expires. We're going to do this all again, so you stay tuned, because we own the night. Good night.